Welcome back. I'm Michael Coorlim, and today we're going to be taking a look at Sierra's 1986 graphic adventure game Space Quest I: The Sarien Encounter. After the success of the first two King's Quest games, Sierra had enough of an operating budget that they could afford to fund more development on their own, and gave coder Scott Murphy and artist Mark Crow, later known as the Two Guys from Andromeda, a shot at making an adventure game with a more science fiction bent. They also wanted to make a game that was a bit lighter than Sierra's other titles. Sierra founder Ken Williams was a bit skeptical, but gave him a shot, and it kicked off another flagship series for the company. The game uses the same AGI engine as King's Quest and was released first for the Tandy 1000 and Doomed PC Jr., with ports for the Amiga, Apple IIgs, Atari ST, and Macintosh, with a simpler version for the Apple II. There would be a 1990s VGA remake with a number of substantive changes using Sierra's more advanced SCI engine. We'll be playing release 1.1 for MS-DOS. It comes with an instruction manual providing us with backstory, 2 Feely coupons, 1 for Droids R Us, and 1 for the Oasis Bar. Launching the game gives us an abbreviated version of the game's backstory as white text on a black screen. Light years from Earth's solar system, the people of the galaxy Iranon have been struggling to maintain the precious balance of life. The sun of Iranon is slowly dying, the planets grow cold, food is no longer plentiful. Life will soon be impossible to sustain. The scientific community of Xenon devised a plan to convert one of Iranon's lifeless planets into a new sun. The effort was centered around the development of a device called the Star Generator. The Star Generator would be capable of igniting an otherwise useless planet into a raging ball of flame. An expedition set out aboard the starship Arcada to successfully complete development and testing of the Star Generator. The Arcada is now returning triumphantly to Xenon with the fully operational Star Generator. You serve as a member of the crew of the Arcada as a janitor. That's right, a janitor. And not a very good one. You would probably have been sacked and replaced were the Arcada not millions of kilometers from Xenon. As we join our story, you have just completed one of your famous on-shift naps in one of the janitorial storage closets. That's more of an intro than we saw in King's Quest, at least as far as information density goes. It's a particularly inelegant way of setting the scene for us, even for the era, but in line with a lot of the sci-fi media at the time. Think of Star Wars' opening crawl, or the studio mandating opening narration for Blade Runner. If you watched my last video, the analytical playthrough of Planetfall, you'll note a few similarities right away. We are, once again, a low-ranking space janitor who finds ourselves on a ship in distress, and it'd be hard to imagine that two genre fans like Murphy and Crow weren't influenced by it. We're also noticing some differences right away. Planetfall wasn't disparaging towards its protagonist, portraying our low position as the unjust whims of fate, while here we are explicitly incompetent. We're also prompted to enter our name. Canonically, the protagonist is known as Roger Wilco, so let's go with Roger. You're startled by the sound of an alarm. It's followed by an urgent voice which warns that the Arcada has been boarded by unknown intruders. It ends abruptly. Movement here works the same as it did in King's Quest. We can walk with the arrow keys, and to stop we need to press the same direction again. Most actions will be completed using the text parser down below, again simpler than what we'd see in an Infocom title. F1 brings up the help screen with our hotkeys, telling us that F2 toggles the sound, F3 retypes the last command, F5 saves the game, F7 restores, and F9 restarts. We can hit Tab to see our inventory, Escape to pause, useful because there are several real-time countdowns in the game. Control-J lets us calibrate a joystick, and Control-R toggles RGB monitor modes. Our first order of business is to figure out what's going on, but there are a few dynamic situations we need to remain mindful of. First, if we hang around too long, the ship explodes and we die. Second, there are enemy patrols to avoid, heralded by footsteps, and if we hear them, we need to hide real fast. We want to avoid a horrible death, but given that this is a Sierra game, whether we can do so is debatable. We're going to be saving often. Looks like some kind of library centered around a computer. The console consists of a screen, keyboard, and cartridge slot. Atop it rests a Model DX cartridge retrieval unit. Explicitly looking at the screen brings us to it. Welcome to the Arcada Data Archive Model DX Storage and Retrieval System. To select a cartridge, enter the title below. Title Catalog available with security clearance only. We can't browse and we don't know what we're looking for, so we'll leave it alone for now and keep going to the left. Down below, we, the player, not Roger, can see a few bodies and other signs of violence. We find a body at the dead end and search it, finding a keycard. It appears to be one of your crewmates. He is non-functional. This is a dead end, so let's go back the way we came. As we're heading through the library, we glitch a bit and preempt some text about the scientist here stumbling in, but that's fine. It's an example of pre-planned sequences as part of the story instead of an explicit reaction to our commands. A large laser hole has been burned in his uniform through which you can see previously unexposed tissue. Struggling painfully, he rises up on one elbow. He tells you the Arcada is under attack and the star generator is in danger. You had better leave if you value your life. He looks over towards the shelves full of cartridges and utters the words, "Astral body." He then settles to the floor, lifeless. I'm not a fan of the telling us what he's saying rather than showing us the actual dialogue, especially when they will be using actual in-character dialogue elsewhere in the game. Still, we can go ahead and search for Astral body in the terminal. Instead of just dispersing the tape, we get to see the retrieval unit go and grab it for us, which is pretty neat. This is a data storage cartridge. On it are the words Astral Body Formation, The Untold Story. Seems like an educational tape without obvious importance. As soon as we put it in the slot, one of the ship's invaders pops in and kills us. The alien observes his handiwork briefly, then leaves. And that's our first death. Thank you for playing Space Quest. Too bad you failed miserably and doomed all of your people to a horrible death at the hand of the Sariens. If you continue playing as skillfully as this, we'll never have a chance for a sequel. Better luck next time. Was that death the result of our command to view the tape, or just bad timing? There are Sarien invaders strolling around and you can stumble into them after all. Either way, we need to restore and haven't saved since the start, so we need to go get the keycard and the cassette and everything again. I'll speed it up a little bit. Alright, before we continue, I'm going to save. Now let's see if putting the tape in the slot is what triggers the death. Yes it is. Obviously we need to know what's on the tape, but checking here isn't an option, so let's keep going for now, down to the deck below ours. We need to be careful because there are Sarien patrols that we might randomly encounter. If we hear footsteps, we need to either hide in the elevator or quickly leave the screen. Your search of the body reveals nothing. None of these other guys are going to have anything useful. This elevator takes us down to another deck. We're in some kind of control room. On the console by the window are two buttons marked Open Bay Door and Close Bay Door. I wasn't sure if that was a monitor or a window before, but we are looking right down into the bay. The keycard unit is a small, sturdy box with a slot. Just above it is a display light which is not currently on. You slide the keycard into its slot. You hear an audible click. You take the keycard back. Looks like some kind of auxiliary control room. Written on the electronic gadget are the words Dialect Translator. On one end is a dial and a light currently dim. Alright, we gotta go on the rail here to get to the controls. The console is adorned with many status indicator. One button to the right is marked Airlock. Let's go ahead and save. Oops, forgot my suit. That concludes your experiment involving the effects of total vacuum on the human body, Roger. Well, that was fun. Let's restore, open the other closet, and wear the spacesuit. I like that you hang up your uniform neatly. We can also just wander out of the airlock. Congratulations, Roger. You have found your way off the Arcada and escaped obvious danger. Unfortunately, you will never be seen or heard from again as you float gracefully through the heavens for eternity. Looking at the console, you see a button marked Platform. There are also some gauges which don't interest you. There is now an escape pod here. We're given a perspective shift here, which is nice. There's some stuff in here like that seatbelt, but I forgot to look at the pod during this playthrough, which is how you'd find out about them. The escape pod moves slowly out of the vehicle bay and into space. Congratulations, you have narrowly escaped an explosive death. Don't start patting yourself on the back just yet, though. You are now traveling aimlessly through the cosmos. The console consists of a screen, pod status indicators, a throttle, and some buttons. The buttons are marked AutoNav, Power, and Don't Touch. Oh, well now I gotta. It said don't touch. I warned you. Ken, did you hear something? It was probably just the Gators entertaining another Space Quest player. Go back to sleep, Berta. Through a strange quirk of fate, or was it, you have stumbled into a place beyond time, space, and dimension. You have entered the Daventry Zone. That's right, the land of King's Quest. This will not help you now since you are playing Space Quest. It's a Twilight Zone reference there. Ken and Berta are Ken and Roberta Williams, the heads of Sierra Online, and yeah, the castle here is the same art used in King's Quest, though with significantly more alligators. The monitor flashes. You study it to see what new information is being displayed. We get a planetary profile for Kerona. It's smaller than Earth with a breathable atmosphere and 40-degree temperatures, or 104 Fahrenheit. We've successfully escaped the ship, and now we need to survive the desert. We've got another timer here. If we take too long, we'll die of thirst. After a skull-jarring landing, you peer through the shattered viewing port out onto the desert landscape. A feeling of utter desolation settles in. You're in a fine mess now, Roger. I do like the detail of the broken windscreen. We'll grab some of its glass. This is a piece of highly reflective view shield glass from the escape pod. Due to its spherical design, there are no sharp edges. In other words, the playtesters were annoyed that they didn't bother coding in the ability to cut anything with the glass. So we're in this desert with no real guidance as to where to go, so we strike out in a random direction. You have just become a vertical meal for the local welcoming committee. Clearly, that was the wrong way. Let's try the other direction. Right away, we can see that the terrain is different, so we may be heading in the right direction. We're still basically wandering around a bit until we encounter something to interact with, though. This is your survival kit. It contains a xenon army knife and a can of dehydrated water. Open desert is probably just going to get us killed again, so let's head back. Check out this cave I missed the first time because it blends into the cliff pretty well. What have we here? Orat has transformed you into a new source of recreation. You, of course, don't survive the treatment. It's tough to make friends around here. I have no idea what Orat did to me, nor do I really want to. Let's restore and take our revenge. Orat, always in the mood for a snack, snatches the can out of the air with his spacious oral cavity, chews and swallows it. He notices a rumbling deep within his abdomen. Orat's eyes prove to be bigger than his stomach for once. Incapable of becoming history's first living reservoir, his body succumbs to the intense internal pressure created by nearly 10 gallons of instantly reconstituted water. As a special bonus, you have received a much-needed shower. This isn't the only way to kill him, but I think it's the most fun, and he drops something over here. You reach down and take the Orat part in your hand. Some of it oozes to fill the space between your fingers. That's gross. Uh-oh. Suddenly, you see a large black metal sphere falling out of the sky, a Sarien spider droid. Upon touching down on the planet's surface, it sprouts legs and begins its search for you. You recall an article from Space Piston magazine that this droid is designed to seek out organic life forms and self-destruct when contact is made. You have just been blown into spider-sized chunks by a Sarien spider droid. Great. This is, incidentally, another way to kill Orat. You lure the droid into the cave and then have it blow him up. Also, we should be saving more often. The spider droid will follow us. It's faster than we are, but its pathfinding isn't great and it can get hung up on the terrain just enough for us to avoid it. And it can't follow us up this ramp. Alright, this is an extremely irritating situation because of the spider droid's awful pathfinding. We want to drop this rock down on it, but it will only crush the droid if it lands exactly on it. So we need to wait for the random path to just happen to lead it to where we want it to be. And there's the danger that if it takes too long, we'll die of thirst. We have a limited time to escape Kerona. It was not known that you are a master of the rock. That was a fine effort. That fine effort took me 20 minutes of real-time saving and restoring. We go up and around. Walking through this arch brings us to an elevator leading deep into the planet. We'll probably need this. Let's walk across this totally safe-looking grate. You've been snatched from existence by a tentacled beast lurking beneath the grate. You feel the painful sting of digestive fluids. Fortunately, crossing at the top is out of its reach, and we even get a special animation for it. Finding the exit was tricky. I had to go all the way to the back of the room and then all the way to the left. Laser gate. Let's see if we can walk through. You are now lying on the floor in many pieces. Guess those beams meant business, Roger. Time to play Guess the Verb. Use glass, that was it. You have quite cleverly turned the beam upon itself, frying it into inoperability. Now we go back up and around. You are unpleasantly surprised by a drop of searing acid which bores its way to your feet. Well, I guess that wasn't water. I'm doing this because I know what's coming up. A massive holographic image appears before you. You sense that you are the only life form in the area. So, you have found your way to my hallowed chamber. Fortunately, there is much more to you than meets the eye. I have been monitoring your travels on our planet. It appears that you are up the proverbial estuary without a means of locomotion. You are obviously in means of transportation. It has come to my attention that you have met Orat. If you have proof of Orat's demise, drop it here for my inspection. If you get to this guy and haven't killed Orat, he'll ask you to go kill Orat and bring him proof. I didn't want to do all that backtracking, so I did it first. You drop the Orat part to the ground. The vision is silent. You are startled by a rumbling, and suddenly an oddly shaped door comes into the view. It opens slowly. You hear a voice, different this time, beckoning you to step forward. Please don't be alarmed. We intend no harm. We are a peaceful race. We are cautious, however. Others don't share our way of life. Welcome to Kerona. I'm not super impressed by the inconsistency of NPC dialogue. Sometimes we get passive descriptions of what we're told. Sometimes we get the actual dialogue with quotation marks. Sometimes without. It just feels sloppy. You are standing in the power generation facility of our underground settlement. All power here is produced by steam. That is unimportant to you, however. We have promised you transportation. This is a skimmer. It hovers approximately a half meter above the traveling surface. This is very important because of Grell. Grell and his like dwell in the caves below the sand. If you stand on the surface too long, you chance becoming a rare moist meal for him. Ugh. The skimmer is programmed to take you to a settlement on the other side of Kerona called Ulence Flats. You can make further travel arrangements there. I am sorry this is all we can offer. I hope your trip is a safe one. Board the skimmer and when you are ready to depart. Good luck, strange one. Alright, before we leave this place, we can check out the cart we picked up at the start of the game. Instead of an edutainment doc about the formation of astral bodies, we get a message. Whosoever shall read this, my name is Dr. Slash Vohal. That is a admittedly cool name. I am a scientist with the Star Generator project aboard the Starlab Arcada. I have just successfully completed development and testing of the Star Generator. During this time, I have come to believe that our progress has been monitored by others. I fear that these Sariens may have learned of our mission. If my fears prove true, the Star Generator and the people of our universe are in serious jeopardy. The Star Generator is a miraculous device. Used as intended, it will help preserve life for eons to come. Used as a device for evil, it will cause the destruction of millions of lives and enslave all who oppose these Sariens. Encoded within this cartridge are all plans and specifications for the constructions of the Star Generator. Should any disaster befall the Star Generator project, scientists would be able to create a duplicate of the Star Generator with this information. Please guard this with your life. Return it to the Xenon ruling body as quickly as possible. Important note, the Star Generator is capable of self-destruction. This was introduced to the system as a precaution. To activate it, one must enter the code 6858. A 5-minute timer will begin to count down. Beware, anyone within 5 kilometers of the Star Generator will be in danger once the timer has been initiated. Please be careful and good luck. And there we have it. A decent midpoint twist. We've gone from simply trying to survive to trying to save our people. The dense info dump isn't a very elegant way to do it, but it shows a little more sophistication than we've been seeing in earlier adventure games. Oh, and let's not forget the cart. It's got the plans on it. As described, it is a star... As described, it is a sand skimmer, and it looks like it has skimmed quite a bit of sand in its time. On it is a panel with a small readout, currently dark, and a keyhole with a key in it. You turn the key, and suddenly the jet turbines begin to whir. The skimmer begins to shake beneath you as its platform slowly moves into the launch tube. You can't help but wonder what you've gotten yourself into this time. As you nervously hang on, the skimmer rises slowly to the surface of the planet via a secret passage. Upon reaching the surface, you throttle up and zoom off into the sunset. The settlement the alien spoke of appears on the horizon. So what we have here is an action minigame in which we need to dodge rocks. Hit 5 and we explode, so we just need to be careful and lucky. Had you eaten a few less donuts during the mission, you might have cleared that rock, Roger. A lot of these death messages seem awfully mean-spirited. The only thing we can really do to improve our chances is to save whenever we feel safe enough to do so. The entire sequence lasts just slightly longer than it needs to. Whew, that was pretty intense. You've managed to successfully navigate the treacherous boulder field, and you are quite relieved to see you've reached the settlement. After a truly stone-crushing journey, you have miraculously arrived safely in Ulence Flats, and just in time too, because the skimmer's power cell has been drained. It will take some time to recharge itself. This place isn't quite what you'd expected. It's semi-bleak at best. So let's go ahead and check out Bootleg Mos Eisley. Say, this is a genuine fountain sand skimmer. I've been looking for one just like it. I wonder if you would accept 30 buckazoids. Yeah, he can do better. Let's go inside the bar and come back out to see if he makes a better offer. Alright, this is my final offer, and I'm only doing it because you look like you need it pretty bad. I'll give you 30 buckazoids, and I'll throw in this swell jetpack. Only ever used it once, works great in zero gravity, you'll love it. Is it a deal, yes or no? That's good enough. Glad we could do business. I'll just take that key. Thank you kindly. Hope your stay in Ulence Flats is an interesting one. Back into the bar. And yeah, that's Jake and Elwood Blues playing on the stage, the Blues Brothers. They had to change this in future releases for obvious legal reasons. What'll it be? I got beer and it's 2 buckazoids. That'll be $2. Thank you very much. Come again. The beer tastes like carbonated Zipple sweat. However, considering recent events, you will learn to love it. This is a desert planet and we're pretty thirsty, so let's order a few more. As you sip another of the odd brews, you overhear someone at the bar say, "There I was, cruising through Sector Double H, when I spot the blip on the scanner. So I heads towards it, you see, and right there in front of me sits the Deltaur. It's just sitting there. My heart starts hyperwarping on me. I figured my milliseconds are numbered. All I can think about is getting my craft out of there, so I'm reaching for the throttle. All of a sudden, there's this incredible flash of light, you see, and just like that, this little planetoid explodes into a ball of fire. I tells you, I never seen nothing like it. I mauled the throttle and got out of there quick, you bet." Sector HH gives us a destination, but we need a ship to get there, and for that, we'll need more than 30 buckazoids, so let's play video poker. As you can see by the interface, we can bet 1, 2, or 3 buckazoids. We're going to need 250, so this is a long process even at high payouts, with no real way to cheat the system in this release, so that means a lot of save scumming. Sorry, there seems to be a circuit failure. To be reimbursed, send a claim to Jipazoid Novelties, 2001 Odessa Blastway, Gurnville, Fedor Exel Galaxy. Please allow 2 decades of delivery. That was a bigger pain than it was in Deja Vu, and it took us 15 minutes of real-time save scumming. As we leave, we have another unlicensed musical appearance that they change in the future, this time ZZ Top. Speaking of unlicensed, in a future release, Droids Are Us becomes Droids Be Us, but since we're here, let's buy a droid. Welcome to Droids Are Us, the finest emporium for mechanized beings in the quadrant. We have a complete line of droids for any purpose imaginable, well, almost any. All top of the line, but I suppose you would probably be interested in our sale items. Please walk this way. That model is ideal for flight systems operations. It will pilot any model fighter or cruiser. And it is one of the most experienced droids we carry. I ask only 42.5 buckazoids for it, 36 for coupon. I got it from a gambling type who was required to pay up or perish. That unit is a good all-around droid. Sure, it may seem a little dinged up, but it's not as bad as it looks. There's still quite a bit of life left in it. It's great for it. It is a great little companion, and for you, only 40 buckazoids, 32 with coupon. Let's get the navigation droid. Using your discount coupon, you have made a relatively decent purchase of a pre-owned sales item. What coupon? Well, the one that came with the game, and the droid will follow us around. Well, howdy, bucko. Can I interest you in one of the finest little used spaceships in the galaxy? You look like a man of discerning taste. Let's check this one out. Don't let appearances fool you. This baby may be a relic, a classic, but she's as dependable as the day we got her. And just think, you'll be the only one in the quadrant with it, I guarantee. She's a beaut, isn't she? This little baby can do a spin around the planet in just under an hour. Look at the lines in that bodywork. They just don't make 'em like this no more, you know what I mean? And she's a real bargain at 185 buckazoids. That sounds great, let's buy it. I tell you, I think you've made a wise decision. She's a beauty. The keys are in her. If you have any problems, don't hesitate to come back and tell us about them. Been a heck of a pleasure doing business with you. Well, good luck and come again. You shell out the buckazoids and hop in. Anxiously, you fire it up and lift off. Dash the luck, Roger. You've crashed into the dunes and ended your life. The various inhabitants of the Keronian desert are now feasting on what remains of you. Guess that wasn't such a hot purchase. I wonder if Tiny feels bad. Probably not. Let's check the other ships. Well, this is a unique little unit, never been flown over Mach 3. It was owned by a little old lady from Glausdrom. You gotta fly it to believe it, and she can be yours for only 99 buckazoids. Let's check out the other one first. Well, here's a man with a good eye, and this here's the keenest little scrambler in the hemisphere. Top of the line, handles like a charm, perfect for cruising the asteroid fields, and she's got all the thrust a guy could need. I tell you, she's an outright steal at 214 buckazoids. Let's go ahead and buy this one. I tell you, I think you made a wise decision. She's a beauty, the keys are in her. If you got any problems, don't hesitate to come back and tell us about them. Been a heck of a pleasure doing business with you. Oh, and by the way, you're going to need a droid to help you fly that thing. Well, good luck and come again. Good thing we bought that astromech droid. Looking at the inside of the ship, you notice there are no controls here, just a button marked load. Tiny must have been serious when he said you would need a droid to fly it. What sector shall I head for, sir? Asked the droid. Well, the only section that's been mentioned is HH. Sector H8 it is. I will proceed with course entry. I hit save too fast and almost miss it, but the guy in the corner is saying, hey, wait a minute, where do you think you're going with my ship? Well done, Roger. You've managed to overcome the elements of Kerona, from endless deserts and spider droids to obnoxious salesmen and bad booze. Yes, the sand in your boots shall forever serve as a reminder of this forsaken planet. You should feel proud, but now destiny awaits with an even greater challenge. We get an extended cutscene as the droid pilots us through an asteroid field, which feels like it could have been another minigame like the Skimmer. We have established visual contact with the ship of Sarien origin, says the droid. The name Deltaur has been confirmed. You might consider the fact that we are in danger by being anywhere near this ship. I hope you didn't waste money on the extended warranty when you purchased me. I will slow our approach and stand off at a safe distance. Darn, Roger. Upon exiting the ship, you find that you have no means of maneuvering and are subject to the whims of inertia and gravity. You quickly learn the true meaning of helplessness as death has its way with you. I guess we should wear the jetpack first. You are now wearing the jetpack. A small control linkage snaps onto the back of your helmet and allows you to control it by merely focusing on where you want to go. Before leaving the safety of your ship, you instruct the little droid to set a course for Xenon, where you will rendezvous later, providing, of course, that you are successful in carrying out your mission. Once again, you're on your own. You grasp the large handle and twist, noticing a rather significant amount of pain being registered. You are extremely grateful to hear a click. As you enter the Sarien ship, the airlock door seals itself behind you. You try to open it again without any success. It appears you are stuck here. Stuck in the airlock without apparent means of leaving, but we can slip out past this droid. Some kind of cargo room. This trunk is not of interest. It is only here because the sloppy Sarians never pick up after themselves. You climb into the trunk. The lid pounds shut above you. You hear voices muffled, then louder. You suddenly feel the trunk lift off the deck and the sensation of movement. After a few minutes, the trunk thuds to the floor, causing you to see stars in the darkness. The voices sound farther away and then gone. As you exit the trunk, you notice you have lost your jetpack. Where? The laundry cleaning unit is not being used at this time. Well, Roger, it certainly appears as though you're about to become all washed up. Jeez. Somehow you manage to survive the rinse cycle. As you emerge from the cleaning unit, you notice that you are now dressed in a Sarien battle uniform. What a stroke of genius! Now you can wander throughout the ship without calling attention to yourself. It feels like more luck than genius, but who am I to judge? The guard looks at you as if you're different somehow. The guard outlines his favorite massacre, the Great Daventry Rout, as he called it. You ponder the meaning of this for a while. Is this the way to the star generator, you ask? Don't ask me, I just work here, responds the unhelpful guard. Anyway, the point of all this chatter is to get this one response added by Ken Williams. Do you own King's Quest II? Asked the nosy guard. We say yes. Great, responds the guard. Pondering his interest, you ask yourself whether or not this guy's getting a kickback from Sierra Online. Later you realize this is silly. What would a Sierran do with money from Course Gold? We get 5 points added to our score for that little bit of product placement. Thank you, Ken Williams. As you pucker up your lips and lean closer, you suddenly remember what your mother taught you about Sarians. In a rare moment of wisdom, you decide not to get anything started you're unwilling to finish. Sounds problematic, but we do get a point for it. We wander around the ship for a bit, passing Sarians, until we come to what looks like an armory. Welcome to the weapons dispensary. I will assist you. Please supply me with your identification card. In the pocket of the uniform is an alien identification card. The name on the card is Buston Freem. You wonder if this is a common Sarien name. If that's a joke, a pun, or a reference, I missed it. Excuse me, I'll grab your weapon. While he's in the back, I'll grab one of these grenades. Your rank allows you to bear 1 pulse ray unit. Remember, no firing in the ship. Have a nice day. At the bottom of the screen, it tells us we press F6 to fire. Let's take care of this guy. The grenade drops to the floor, releasing its poisonous gas on the unsuspecting alien. Good shot, Roger. Send him off again so we can snag the other grenade. Sorry, my records indicate that a weapon has already been signed out in your name. It's fine with me, we don't really need a second gun. My, aren't you a clumsy one? Because of your inability to walk without falling on your face, your helmet is now riding the elevator down without you. You have blown your cover. The Sarians are sure to shoot first and ask questions later. We're in a situation similar to what we saw in Arcada. The Sarians will randomly spawn and shoot you if you don't shoot them first, so we need to be fast. Well, we weren't fast. He wasn't there that time. You seem to have found a remote control device of some sort. It only has one button labeled on-off. Suddenly, the force field protecting this star generator disappears. Fortunately, we learned the code to the self-destruct in that tape. Alright, we got 5 minutes to escape. The star generator has come alive. The heat that this thing is starting to generate tells you that it's time to blow this taco stand. Well, we do get a shot off this time, but if the robot droid could laugh, which it is not programmed to do, it would do so. Your pulse ray is only effective against living opponents. Fortunately, with droids, we can just leave and come back. Let's see if we can pop out and get the drop on him. No. He doesn't spawn when we come back. You swiftly slip into the sleek ship. Try to say that 3 times fast. No thanks. You frantically search the control console for the launch button. Aha, there it is. The Deltaur has been blown into tiny fragments by the forces of the Star Generator's blast. You have saved the lives of millions of your people, not to mention the lives of those in other systems. Don't get a big head. Even in victory, it's gotta trash us. Congratulations, Roger. You've rid the universe of the evil Sarians and saved your people from certain doom. The Star Generator technology is safe inside the data cartridge. Now a new star generator can be built and carry out its original task. You're an all-around hero. You've made it home safely aboard the stolen Sarien craft, where you've encountered a cheering Xenon crowd. They have gathered together for a ceremony in your honor. The ceremony is already in progress. As a token of appreciation, you are presented with a golden mop. Thank you, Roger, for cleaning up our galaxy, says the Xenon leader. Once a janitor, always a janitor. And that's it. Space Quest 1. Comparing it to King's Quest, we're seeing an overall improved narrative presentation, particularly where it comes to cutscenes as a means to tell the story. There are a few cool sequences, like the end escape from the Deltaur and some clever death animations. The art does a good job of presenting the game's mood and atmosphere. The puzzles were also better than they were in King's Quest. More logical and less random, at least, and less frustrating. I also appreciated there were multiple kinds of screen to tell the story: the skimmer minigame, the slot machine, the cart reader interface. Where Space Quest falls short is, sadly, in characterization and the actual prose of the writing. The story structure itself is sound, with a midpoint twist that moves us from simple survival to trying to stop the Sariens. It just isn't implemented well when it comes to prose and dialogue. I could have done with fewer text boxes and more telling the story through other means. All that said, Space Quest is a big step forward for the adventure genre and Sierra games in particular. The humor is uneven and often mean-spirited towards the protagonist. I feel that that's something that works better in a series like Leisure Suit Larry, where the hero is a generally pathetic scumbag, than a working-class hero narrative like we're seeing at Sarien Space Quest. Janitor or no, Roger Wilco is not deserving of our contempt. Thank you so much for joining me for this analytical playthrough of Space Quest. Extra special thanks to my channel members and Patreon supporters, especially Drakflaz, Karen, and Theo. If you like to get my videos days ahead of everyone else, consider signing up to support my work. I'm still looking for a new job, and the extra income helps a lot.